a vacation. So I'll take it back to that trip that I told you that was canceled. So I live in New York. The idea for me of a vacation is clear blue water and snorkeling and heat. I give me 110-degree heat over anything cold. So when everything happened and our options, we had three options. Disney Cruise Line, in terms of disaster, and Disney as a whole, has always been very good, regardless of the type of insurance and things that you have. And that's a whole other topic, but they've been very good about handling their customer base and giving opportunities. So, for example, Cruise, first of all, we weren't notified originally. There's Facebook groups and everything for all your cruise pages. So a week before, a couple days before, we had gotten an alert that Hurricane Matthew was going to basically go right in the path. The cruise that we were set was supposed to come out of the New York port and go straight down, go to Florida for one day, go to Castaway Cay, and return back. That hurricane was directly in the path of where the cruise ship was supposed to go. So Canada had opened up its borders and said, welcome Disney Magic, before we were notified. That was the only little boo-boo that we had noticed. Disney was then very quick to communicate with us, and they gave us three options. We could cancel and get all of our money back. We could transfer over to a new booking, or we could stay on the current booking and go to Canada. Now, I had become friends as I've talked to, I'm very active on a lot of the Facebook groups. We were all very upset because your idea of, it was in October, we wanted to go down to Disney. We didn't want to go to Canada. It wasn't a night, nothing against Canada at all. But when you have your mindset and people have been saving for cruises, I go every year. I'm very fortunate to go every year. Many of the people that I know are booking, like I said, 12 to 18 months in advance, and they have their heart set on something. So when an itinerary is changed and you have basically 24 hours to make a decision and find out, a lot of people were already here. They came over from Europe because they were coming a couple days before. They had no choice to really cancel. They decided to stay on and go up to Canada. They had an amazing time because half the cruise was empty. I saw pictures. They put extra itineraries and things for them. But because the cruise was almost less than 50%, they were in danger of canceling it as a whole if they didn't get X amount of people. Normally there's 2 dining rotations. On that particular cruise, they condensed it only to 1 dining. Some of the normal activities where you would normally have 1 show or 2 show, they did condense it. So that the people that went that I still talk to some of the agencies, and there was a lot of travel agents on that. They continue to win. I've seen the pictures. They had an amazing time because Disney went above and beyond for those guests. But for me personally, yes, it would have been a deterrent for me because my idea of I wanted to be able to go to Castaway Cay and I want to be able to go to Walt Disney World. So it really depends on the type of person and what you set. Now, having said that, if the option was not there for me to transfer 2 weeks later, because in that particular year, when you're going out of New York, there's only 4 to 5 sailings. So there were people on that October 4th cruise that were trying to get on the October 22nd or the October 29th. And by the time either their travel agent or them themselves, depending on how they booked, was able to contact Disney Cruise Line, there were no available spots. All those remaining 3 ships had sailed to capacity. So again, those people were forced out either again to go to Canada or to cancel. And that was a decision everybody had to make. It was definitely an interesting thing. It doesn't stop me from cruising, but I do take it that anything can happen. As we're seeing right now in this current environment, unfortunately, right now everything is postponed. I cannot see this being lifted. People are concerned. I would be lying if I said I'm not concerned about my August trip because we don't know just because everything is happening with Disney Cruise Line and they might say it's okay. The ports, before Disney made the announcement to say, okay, we're not sailing, Jamaica closed their port, Grand Cayman closed their port, you could go on a ship and turn around in the middle of the ocean. But, if the ports aren't going to allow you in, this is a global pandemic that's happening right now. We just don't know.
Yeah, it's interesting you say the current climate we're in and how it hinders travel. I myself, I live in Las Vegas. So with everything that's gone down, all of businesses to include casinos were basically shut down within 72 hours. In my other fandom, we have a convention that happens every August. So a lot of those that go to this convention every year are also in question of, will this convention be on? And it's not so much of the date itself. It's so much of what's going on with the climate, safe to travel, things like that. So would the convention still go on? So it's a very interesting point that you bring up. It's Mother Nature, I guess you could say, really deems whether or not you're going to have a good time. I think is the end all be all to this thing here. So really it's taking a chance. And like I said earlier, it's a gamble. So that being said,
Right.
Let's talk about your most recent cruise and if you have highlights and what could have been done better. But before that, I wanted to ask, and I should have asked this in the beginning as well, is Disney Cruise Line is put on by which cruise line itself? Is it Royal Caribbean? Is it Norwegian? Or is it their own line itself?
No, it's theirs. Years and years and years ago, they had a contract with the Big Red Boat, but that ceased. I can't even remember how long. 1996 and 1998. 1998 is when the first cruise line, with Disney, it was the Disney Magic that started. That is theirs. Disney Cruise Line currently has 4 ships. They are owned and operated. They have no affiliation with any other cruise line.
Okay, so it's theirs and theirs alone.
And it's only 4. So when you think about, the magnitude of all, you think of Carnival, this one's got this many ships, this one has this. They're working in a dynamic. There's only 4 ships.
And each cruise ship can only hold so many. So the reservations come in as quick as possible, and it's smart enough to book early,
right,
so you can be one of those occupants on the ship.
Right.
And being 4, you could imagine each cruise ship probably holds about 2,000 to 2,500. So you may be one of those 10,000 that actually get to enjoy the experience that everyone else has. Since you cruise so often, is it almost like a convention or almost like a reunion in a sense where you see the same people? And, with the advent of social media, of course, we keep in contact. But for those that don't have it, like you see them every year and it's, hey, how are you? So you kind of have like a buddy system to where, hey, let's have dinner here. I would imagine it's just about the same as like any other person who would cruise during the same time on different cruise lines, correct?
So it depends. So on twofold. So we've been on the Disney Magic 6 times now. So within the Disney Magic, the actual cast members or the crew members that are there, they have the same contracts, and they try to. So I know, I'm not going to say their names, but I know certain people that are in the shops, or my bartender. I have my bartender. So it's in that regard, it's definitely a reunion. In terms of the people that are going on the cruise line, it's kind of funny because due to social media and Facebook, we're a big community, but we're very, very small. So whenever an announcement hits, we're all on the cruise pages. Did you book this itinerary? Oh, I'm going with you. My last cruise, I mean, we have good friends, Karen and Brooke. I was telling you about Palo. So we decided to book a Palo brunch, just us, as our own little reunion. There are people that I've become very close friends with, people that I talk with every day that are in all other states. And every time the cruise line comes out, are we going on this one together? Are we going on that one together? We always try to, coordinate. Then you have a subset of people that they always do the exact same week. So again, being out of New York, I have a lot of people in the New York area that see that October and November timeframe as a very lucrative time to go. So basically, because 1, they're close to port. 2, they don't have to worry about the airfare. So they pick the same week every single time. So they're doing the same itinerary, they're doing the same thing, and that's what they enjoy. I've jumped on that twice, but I do kind of like to switch it up. So I think I have more of a relationship with a smaller group that I will say, okay, can we all try to coordinate to go on this particular one and sway them my way? It depends, obviously, on school schedules, because for us, late August and September is very easy. But for the rest of the country, you have to understand, they're already in school in August. So, they're all pushing for me to go in May because they're done. So we got to kind of try to find that sweet spot. Now, if we all homeschool for the for the foreseeable future, we can go whenever we want and it won't make a difference. But that's kind of the way that we kind of do it. But social media definitely helps. I mean, on Facebook, there's 3 main Disney Facebook cruising groups. Then there's a subset for every single cruise line, for every single cruise sailing. I've been an admin of Disney cruise pages at least 5 times now. I just picked up the last one for August, because people book these things and then life happens and they switch and they change. But yes, there's definitely a cruise community in both regards, in the crew members and also with the members that sail themselves.
So let's go into now, we'll take the last year, for example. So let's go into last year and talk to me about the cruise itself, what you went on, how many days it was, what the activities were each day, because for me, it sounds like you're the sergeant, if you will, who's in charge of booking everything, and we're going here and we're going there, and you hold what my family likes to call the clipboard of fun. So you're the one that dictates what's going on. So take me through your last cruise, day by day, the good points, the bad points, the ports of call you went to, what was interesting about each day and each port that you had gone to, and we'll go from there.
Okay, so the last cruise we went on was April of 2019, and that was on the Disney Fantasy. So we tried to get there as early as possible. We've never been selected as the family of the day. That is something that they do. So basically, it was funny because we weren't selected as family as the day, but we were partnered with them for dinner. So I kind of got close. They were very sweet. But basically what that is if you're in the very beginning, the port windows start, if you're not platinum or concierge, you start at 10:30, 11 o'clock, 11:15, 11:30. If you're in the beginning group of 10:30, Disney Cruise Line will pick a family and pluck them and deem them family of the day. And basically, they get a little extra surprises in their room. They get their photos. They get to board the ship first. There's a couple little special things. So we didn't get picked, but we sat with them. So I found that funny. And I did not know that until the first, time with it. For that particular cruise, we decided to just kind of go on. We bring our bare minimums. We have our bathing suits on, and we kind of hit the pools. The first night, I believe we had Animator's Palette. So I was telling you before, those 3 different types of dining. And to be honest, the first day, I believe, is kind of a blur. There's nothing that really strikes out. Because we've been on the cruises so many times, we kind of avoid the shows just because we've seen them so many times. But on that particular sailing, it was supposed to be Aladdin. And Aladdin got canceled because they were in the process of redoing it. So everybody was really upset that they didn't get their Aladdin. But I had already seen it, so I kind of kept quiet. So we sent the kids to the kids club. We went to the bar. We hung out we did the Aqua Duck, which is on the Disney Dream and the Disney Fantasy. You have the Aqua Duck. On the Magic, you have the Aqua Dunk. Okay, so the difference between them is that the Aqua Dunk on the Magic, you go up and it's basically a tube that encases you and you drop straight through and then go around the side of the ship. I did that on the cruise the year prior in 2018. This particular cruise is the nice, calming one. You go in a raft and it takes you basically around the ship. So if you ever see,
So it's almost like a lazy river type thing.
it's like a lazy river tube that goes around the top of the ship. So if you look at any picture of it of the Disney ships, you'll see this clear plastic kind of tube that's going around. That's what it is, and it has up a little bit of hills. There's two spots where you're not enclosed, but you're not going fast enough. You're not going to fly out. You're not going to go off the side of the ship. But we basically did that all day the first night. We always do room service every single night. That's a big